much of our time, talk show. I didn't get to do justice in the few publicity I made out there because given that it's not known in this part of the country, I would say, because when you meet anybody, it's just like, oh yeah, what is the topic? What are we talking about? But then it's strongly one thing I want to do for a long time. I've watched the likes of Steve Harvey, Ellen DeGeneres, Trevor Noah, a lot of them, Jimmy Fallon's and the Coup, where we have a platform where we bring diverse people to come sell whatever they have plans for us as a person, as a nation, as an head of institution, whatever it is. But thank you all for coming. My first guest, so that I don't get to waste much of our time, my first guest is a man I have great respect for, my mentor. He has been there for me when I was doing this thing in the four walls of my living room. And he came there and discussed the law with me. I think if there's only any person I know in my life of that level, he's the only person I can call to, even though I've never had a law problem, but then if I ever have, this is the only person I will reach out to. Please help me welcome Barrister Solomon K. Musa. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you.
You will forgive me for we've done this before, so clearly it's we can still do it again. Please, once again, please, can you help me appreciate my guests on the show today? Now, talking about the law, sir, straight to the point. Why did you choose to study law?
Thank you for inviting me to this program. I chose to study law when early in life I saw a lot of injustices. There were rich men who seized land from poor farmers. There were people who were arrested, incarcerated by the police for absolutely no just reason. And let me move forward to about just 2 years ago. And I think because of that, I have no regrets for studying law and choosing law as a profession. 2 years ago, about 10 to 15 people came to my office from Giwa local government. Giwa is a place where people have been suffering, villagers, from banditry and terrorism. They are terrorized in their farmlands, they are terrorized in their houses, but this time around, the police, sadly, instead of protecting and defending them, they decided to now go to Giwa Market. I think Giwa Market is either on Wednesday or Thursdays. They will go to Giwa Market and just arrest farmers, market people, traders. They will just arrest them for absolutely no reason from Kaduna. One of them told me his experience. When they arrested him, bundled him into their vehicle, all the money in his pocket, the police, they removed all the money from his pocket, and when they got to judge, they decided to buy suya for themselves with drinks. And they took the suya, drank, ate the suya, drank the mineral water, and they took him to their office in Kaduna. And when they got there, they decided to tie him just like the way you will tie a goat that is about to be roasted, slaughtered and roasted. And they put him there. After 30 minutes, he fainted. They repeated that experience again the next day for about 3 days. And by the time he came back to Giwa, when he was brought back, for almost 3 months, he could not eat, use his hands to eat. He could not walk with his legs. Neither could he is a Muslim, neither could he do ablution or to pray. And the policemen were boastful. Mune in Hausa, Mune kidnappers must license. We are kidnappers that are licensed to kidnap people. And they did that to several people. So I have no regrets choosing the path to study law and also to practice law. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, sir, describe a court case that didn't go your way and what lessons you learned from it.
You know, the funny thing is that people think that no good lawyer should lose a case. I tell you, let me just give you just one. Somewhere here in Zaria, it was one of the lower courts, a magistrate court, here in Zaria. The case was a simple one, extremely simple one. I mean, I've done so many cases. That was not a case that I should lose at all, because the lawyer on the other side told me, in fact, he used the figurative illustration that we know we're just like chickens that have been slaughtered and we're just struggling before we die. So the lawyer on the other side was sure they were going to lose the case. But because of the fact that the man on the other side was a wealthy man, he decided to see some of the, let me be blunt, he saw the judge and he gave him money, he bribed him. So when judgment was given, it was a shock to me that we lost the case. I said, not to worry, no problem. I told my client, don't worry. By the time we went on appeal to the High Court, there was absolutely, even the lawyer, the new lawyer that the other side took, by the time he got to the High Court, he said they were conceding to judgment. Now, there are cases that you lose. There is no doubt about it. But let's not talk about only cases that you lose. There are also cases that you win.
Now, you know, there's one thing with lawyers, man. If you allow them, I will sleep here. Now, let's just make progress. What will you want your client to know about you?
Well, simple. I want my clients to know that here is a lawyer who stood by me. Here is a lawyer that helped me. Here is a lawyer that got me out, even when it appeared to be hopeless and I appear to be helpless.
Please, let's appreciate it.
That's all.
What area of the law is the most interesting to you and why?
Well, human rights. Human rights. Human rights. Because, like I said, that was what motivated me to read law. But I do that first as a general practitioner. But then, when aircrafts began to fly and landing, crashing all over Nigeria a couple of years ago, I decided to do a master's in aviation law, and I also did my PhD also in aviation law.
Let's appreciate you. Now, what will you do if you had to take on a case that went against your values?
Well, I don't know what you mean by my values. If you are talking, I'm a Christian, and of course, if there is a case that will go against my beliefs, one, I will sit down with the client and explain to him that I may not be able to do this case for this and that reason. But if it is a case and there are people who do not understand, because people believe that there are cases that are too obvious that you shouldn't take. For example, if someone is driving and you knock down a person, so people will think that if the matter goes to court, no lawyer should handle that matter. No, you can handle the matter because it's possible while you were driving, you were driving at dead speed, not at an irresponsible speed. You were not negligent, and then someone that wanted to die just jumped in. If he dies, then certainly you should be able to handle the case. But if someone possibly is a criminal and tells you, confesses to you that I have committed this and this and this, what you need to do is still take the case, go to court. But of course, when you go to court, you can tell him that if it is so clear, the circumstances are so clear, he can go to court and plead guilty. And what you need to do is to go to court and tell the judges if there are redeeming fee things. So you plead what we call allocutus. You give reasons why the sentence should not be too heavy, and that is that.
Please appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. Now, how can the legal system improve to all people to get a fair trial?
All right. Talking about the legal system, I think we need to understand. Because most people, when you talk of legal system, they think of just lawyers and judges. No, it's not just about lawyers and judges. First of all, in 2023, you voted for people to be House of Assembly members and House of Reps and Senate. You voted for governors. You voted for presidents. Now, House of Assembly are people who will pass laws, legislation. The National Assembly, they pass laws. Now, they can pass bad laws, and there's nothing that a lawyer can do. There's nothing that a judge can do. So what we need to know is, at the point when you are voting, please don't be swayed by what you are giving. Don't be swayed by the money that you are giving. Vote for people of integrity. Vote for people who will be able to pass good laws. That's one. So legislation is important. So if we have good laws, fine. Number two, we need the issue of good training, because right now, I have trained a lot of lawyers. I've been in this business for over 3 decades, getting to 4 decades. That's close to 40 years in this business. And I tell you now, what I see now is actually very sorry. Because you see a lawyer that writes just one letter, 1-page letter, and there will be not less than 20 errors. The training, we need to train lawyers very well. In terms of appointment of judges, we need now to appoint judges not because they are Christians or Muslims, not because they are Hausa or Yoruba or Igbo, but because they are people that deserve to be appointed. They have also integrity. So when you put all those together, one, legislation, good legislation, and two, you will have judges that will interpret the law without fear or favor. So when we have that, legislation, legal system will do well.